MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. Let's send it to Costa Rica. The premier combat sport odds maker in the business, Joey Oddessa, steps up and in. Joey, we got a big week of fights. The countdown is nearly complete.
I tell you what, it's a huge week of fights. After a week off, you couldn't ask for more. There's 5 events before the end of July, starting with this big one, UFC 189.
Well, unfortunately, the big one isn't Jose Aldo anymore. Chad Mendes is in. There have been numbers online kicking around, but the official number came out last Tuesday night, and I was surprised to see the Mendes was a minus 120, minus 130 favorite. I was on the radio at the time. I told people, if you like McGregor, jump on this now, because I think McGregor is going to end up being a minus 200 favorite in this fight. I don't think it's going to get to 200. It looked like it peaked at about minus 180 or so. Starting to come down a little bit, but it seems that the Europeans are going to be betting on McGregor. The Americans and maybe some Canadians, the North Americans are going to be betting on Mendes. But there also seems to be a coalition here between sort of the public liking McGregor, the $20, $50 better guys going to like McGregor, and a lot of sharps that I talk to, they like Mendes. Is that the way that you see the action coming in?
Oh, I do. I see wise guy action on both sides. I saw people lay $1.15 on Mendes, thinking it wasn't going to go back up. But here's something that a lot of people are overlooking. That line was opened up at night. And what happened was people initially came out of the gate, and they bet Mendes. That number went as high. I saw $1.60 on Mendes that night. But then when all the Americans and our side of the pond went to sleep, all the Europeans woke up, and they started pounding on McGregor, like nonstop. And a lot of these lines got moved with a little bit of money. So it went all the way to the other side. Hindsight, $1.30 opening up Mendes was a bad line because it moved so far. But it's starting to generate two-way action at 170 right now on average. 165 I'm seeing McGregor. It's starting to come the other way. But the time zones do play a difference. Like all overnight in the USA, you'll see all Conor money, and then during the day you'll see Mendes money.
You like Mendes against Aldo both times, so I imagine you're going back with your boy once again here against Conor. It's kind of hard. I get why people like Mendes. Stylistically, it's a good matchup for him. And as an underdog at plus money, it looks attractive. But I think Conor's going to win. Who do you like?
I tell you, I got to like Mendes, but there's so many variables here. There was rumors about Conor's weight. I don't know if they were talking about his weight or what the line was, because they said 170. I find it hard to believe he was that heavy that soon before. It almost, these rumors, you can't believe anything you hear out there. There's so many things. Somebody puts it on Twitter, and the next thing you know, it's like the Holy Grail. But I got to go with Mendes simply because I think if Mendes fights smart, and it's very cliche, and he's just got to wrestle. If he simply wrestles, I thought he had Aldo in the first bout. He had Aldo's back. Aldo grabbed the fence. I don't know. The referee will be significant in this fight if they get up on the cage. If Conor grabs the fence, you might see. I just hope that the fight's completely on the square. I want to see the best of Mendes, which with a short camp maybe and not being prepared. I wanted to see the best of McGregor, but either way, right now the sportsbooks are going to need Mendes to win the fight. However, if McGregor wins the fight, it's like double down. It's like a double Mayweather fight, because in the first 24 hours, I could say without any question of a doubt, over 1/3 of the handle, which is the volume, the amount of total dollars bet on the Aldo versus Mendes fight, at that point where they announced the change in bouts, was bet. I'm saying in the first 24 hours, they bet more than 1/3 of the total handle of the whole time that line was up for Aldo versus Mendes, which tells me it's it's not, the Brazilians aren't running out double-fisted to bet on Aldo. The people in the United States, the West Coast, California bets, New York bets. You know how those guys are. They're going to come in, and people are saying the Irish are coming, the Irish are coming. Well, just like Mayweather on Post, they came in on Ricky Hatton, and they came in hard and heavy, and everybody gobbled up Mayweather on Post. I see the same thing happening here.
That's interesting. Yeah, we're almost seeing that. It's not going up. It's actually coming down. It's a good point. California is a heavy volume state. We got to be quick here, Joe, on the way out. Robbie Lawler and Rory. Seems like the number's coming down a little bit here as well. Rory was in the 190, 2-1 range. So you could probably get him at 65, 70 now.
You know, I saw a lot of really square money on Robbie early at numbers, people taking numbers that were way lower than market, 15, 20, 30 cents lower than market on Robbie, which, made me hesitate and say, well, geez, he did beat him once, but now they're taking bad numbers, and you know what that's like. I mean, you can't take $1.20 when there's $1.45 on the screen, hypothetically. So it's a tough bout. I mean, I said Rory McDonald was the best fighter in Canada, let alone the best fighter in the world a while ago. I'm going to kind of stick by my guns. I think Rory's going to pull this fight out.
I like Rory as well. All right, Joe, we got less than a minute. I like Thatch over Nelson. Mike Swick comes back. One thing with Garcia, the Dominican Nightmare, it's a nightmare when you lay minus 400 with this guy because you're sweating it out all the time. He's a great athlete and he's all hype, but he's got a lot of close fights, and he never really dominates in the fashion that a big favorite should. Mike Swick, though, I don't know what to make of Swick, man. The guy never fights anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and when you're laying minus 400 on a guy, you don't want to see it go past the first round. I mean, when you're laying anything on a guy, you don't want to see it go past the first round. But this isn't the kind of guy I'd prefer. I'd actually probably prefer Thatch laying that price as opposed to
Garcia. Anything else? We got to get out of here right now. Anything on any prelim pick? You got anything?
No, there's not too much here. I mean, I do like Thatch. I think that there's so many fights going on this week. I mean, I'm looking at next week's card with Ellenberger and stuff. Well, it's not even next week. It's Sunday's card.
Yeah, next week. That's the day after. But yeah, like you said, this card's too stacked.
And then Wednesday. I mean, mirror fights on Wednesday. I mean, there's just so many fights going down. It's hard to keep track of them all.
That's the one fight I do like. We got to get out of here, Joey. But I do like that fight in Frank Mir. I don't think Duffy should be a 2-1 favorite against Frank Mir personally.
I tell you, I think Bermudez can. Yeah, I do like Frank Mir. I think Bermudez can pull it out. Whether I want to go in there and risk him getting beat, but he's been subbed before. I think Bermudez, if he just wrestles, can win, but he just hasn't looked himself.
All right, Joey, always a pleasure. Check out Joey's website. He's got analysis, line movement, live odds, and all that other cool stuff. Oddessa.com. Thanks, Joey.
Hey, thanks for having me, Gabe. Have a good one.
All right, I'll tell you what, this week is one of the times that I wish the show was actually 60 minutes, and we had a full hour, a ton of stuff and a ton of fights we didn't want to get to. Check out FightNetwork.com. Look at the podcast section. Me and Gamblu actually went through every fight on the card, all right? But on TV, people aren't tuning in to hear about the Mike Swick fight. People are tuning into this show for great videos, though, and we got a great one. I actually laughed out loud, which is saying something because I'm a cold-hearted, bitter son of a bitch. But I watched this video. I was laughing out loud. This guy does a great Goldberg, man. I actually thought it was Goldberg for a second, but it isn't Goldberg. Job well done. Excellent video. This video is the UFC video game and the glitches that it has in the game with some play-by-play added by Mike Goldberg, but it ain't really Goldberg. Coming up next, our video.
See this again, Mike. It looked like it would be impossible, Joe. Well, we're seeing it. I mean, this is crazy. Here it is again, Joe. Anthony Pettis got so dizzy that he died. He's super dead, Mike. Here we go, start of round one. John Jones, very unorthodox. Looks like he's going for a fish out of water takedown. He gave up, Joe. Joe, it's truly incredible what these athletes can do with weight cuts. Rogers weighs in at 155 pounds, and then he super hydrates back up to 375. Mike Dolce can do anything. Oh, Mike, look at this. Walk us through the action, Joe. Well, Mike, it looks like Chris Weidman is holding an invisible baby in his arms. He's trying to give it to Lyoto. It looks like Lyoto wants no part of that see-through baby, Joe. Chris rocking the newborn, showing a lot of love. Lyoto really hates that baby. Look for Pettis to go for a Showtime punch off the cage here. His foot has fused with the cage, Joe. This could be something new, Mike. Pettis is so creative. Look for him to have the cage attack Nate. Nope, Joe, he is severely injured. Joe, how is it that he can get out of this position? Well, Mike, he needs to completely ignore the laws of physics and just stand straight up. Surprised the G-force of that movement didn't kill them both. Now, Joe, what are the benefits of floating 3 feet in the air and punching yourself in the face?
He's looking to score points this round. He's staying very active in the floating position.
Reminds me of a young...
Don't say it, Mike. Now, this is a huge mistake by Mighty Mouse, Mike. A huge mistake.
Joe, with so many fights under his belt, you'd think he would have remembered to enter the cage before the fight started.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Uncle Creepy's trying his best to engage him, but DJ he can't get in the cage.
Those doors are hard to find sometimes, Joe.
They're really not, Mike.
And Ian McCall has become a wizard.
Psychic suplex! Mike, DJ's got to do something here.
It looks like Mighty Mouse may have become a T-1000, Joe.
He's making his way in there, Mike. This is crazy.
T-1000 goes right into the mount. And now both fighters carrying invisible babies.
It's twins, Mike.